Hi, I'm Rozina Spinnoy, and I'm here today to talk about the future scenario triangle. Now, as a designer and a social entrepreneur, being creative and having a vivid imagination, I tend to use the design thinking with the futures thinking together, working in a variety of different sectors from community projects, inclusive education, awareness on mental health issues, and also looking at how we can really create these inclusive communities. And of course, there's many wicked problems across our society and across the globe, from climate change to what we're currently experiencing with the coronavirus across our cities and across many countries. Now, this requires for us to be working together and collaboratively, to be participating, to also be anticipating, looking at the potential scenarios using futures thinking. Taking an experimental view of a city, just like this 20-minute neighbourhood. I remember coming across this a few years ago from Melbourne, and of course recently with Paris and the 15-minute city or the 15-minute neighbourhood. How can we create walkable cities, livable cities? Another vision of the future could be this hyper reality around the city. How can we think about digital technologies? How AR, VR can be used? Here in Brussels, there was a vision of creating an area that was a pedestrian zone, that was green, that was livable, sustainable, walkable for families. This has pretty much been achieved for this part of town. Of course, if we want to run away with our imagination and think about another kind of future, it could be on another planet, could be on Mars. We could be creating and designing cities on Mars, on other planets. This could be something that could be thought of as potential scenarios. I had a vision of inclusive education as a project a few years ago, looking at how we could create an inclusive environment, bringing neurodiverse children together, neurotypical children together, to really create that fun, that creativity, and also link with the digital tools and bring together that digital transformation and to really empower the children. This is part of a greater vision of inclusive communities and how we can create them within public space, within private space. What does it mean to be inclusive? Also looking at creative social projects, linking people of different ages, intergenerational projects with creativity. Now, what I'd like to talk to you about today is, of course, the Futures Triangle, which is why we're here, to look at each of these corresponding corners of the triangle which relate to each other and how we can create this future vision. What is the ideal image? What is that desired future that we will work towards? And of course, we also have to look at the pushes of the present, such as the trends of the moment. Also, how do these influence the future? And what are the weights? What are those barriers that stop us getting there? Now, I did a similar exercise in a workshop in Dundee with the Academy of Urbanism, where it was really using this futures triangle to determine the future of the city, working together with different actors, looking at what were the challenges, how could we reconnect the poorer parts of the city to the waterfront, where this amazing Victoria and Albert Design Museum was situated. How could we also keep the student retention in the city? Many challenges working with different actors of the city. It was a very interesting exercise. Now, a few years ago, I participated in a workshop with two Futures global experts and two UNESCO chairs. One was, in fact, Professor Sohail Innayatullah, who was the creator of the Futures Triangle, and the other one was Professor Rael Miller. We also did some role play, but sadly we won't have time for that today. So whatever the challenge, however complicated it seems, however much of a jungle that we happen to be in, we need to be able to work through it and to be able to see clearly. How can we work towards that vision together? How can we have that helicopter view to be able to oversee and to see how we work towards that future? We also need to think about being strategic. Who are the different players we would bring around the table? How do we make this happen? How do we make that vision reality? How do we think about that long-term perspective? having that clarity, having that global overview over everything, knowing that we need to work towards that vision. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to brainstorm and experiment over Oslo and over the questions that will be posed in the workshops that we'll be working in. So we look forward to working together with you and seeing what visions you have for the future. Thank you for listening. This project is part of the JPI Urban Europe project PlaceCity, with the cities of Oslo and Vienna, of which Nabolashager and BID Belgium are partners. Today's session was in collaboration with Toyen Unlimited and the Research Council of Norway.